Hey, everybody. Look who's first in line. Alicia, hello. And Dave. Kiri, hello. Alicia, I missed you last week. Can't remember if you were on the week before either, but I did notice your absence. So, hey, Dave. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. This is my second one, though, for the new year. So, it's good to say it again, right? It's 2022. Oh, my goodness. Patty, hello. Yeah, you ran 2 weeks ago. Okay. It's we can't say Happy New Year too much, I don't think, this year, because it's like, yeah, a new year. And you know what? For those of us who are like over the 50 age, when we were kids, to think of anything that was dated now, it's like everything would be like the Jetsons, just like, all the cars would be flying and we would have robots doing everything and it would just be like crazy. And it's like, it's kind of nice to know that things haven't changed quite that much. So we aren't like totally space aged here on Earth, which is kind of nice. Hey, Grammy Karen. Hi. Julie, hello. Greetings to everybody here. Bonnie, hello to you. You would have never flying cars. I know, right? If we put like sails on them or, wings, we could, I don't know. If we had electric powered cars with wings, I don't think we'd get too far. I really don't think so. Ricky, hello. Thanks for coming. Seems like they go back in time sometimes. So true, Julie. Yes. Things that we think we're making some progress with, and it just ends up going backwards. Absolutely, Alicia. It's Lehigh. Oh, well, Tara, thank you so much for showing up here. Appreciate it. Tare. Don't know how you say it. Sorry. Yes, we will get to those in a few minutes. So, but thank you for coming in. How's everybody? How is your, Terry? Okay. Well, Terry, thank you. Just wondering how everybody's week was. What did I do last week? Just a lot of kind of normal stuff, I guess. And then we had a good bit of snow last week too, and things have been very, very cold. It's starting to warm up. We're at 1 degree above 0 Fahrenheit right now, so it has warmed up quite a bit. We've been down into the negative teens and 20s easily without the wind chills. And then we've had wind chills at like minus 40, 45, different things like that. So it has been bitterly cold here, and been shoveling a lot. But we're gonna have a couple days here, I think 3, maybe 4 days, that are going to be even up close to freezing, which is going to be pretty amazing. So tomorrow, I think, it's saying 31 now and sunny, which means now that the sun is starting to creep a little bit higher in the sky, you could even see a little bit of melting. Could even see that. Maybe a quarter of an inch or something might melt. Oh, Patty, that's awesome. That is so great. It's 22 years ago. But the batteries in your truck died? Oh, no. Well, that is an unexpected expense. Sorry about that, Dave. Patty, that's so great. I'm so glad you're going to be moving, getting your own place, going in red zone tomorrow. Oh, dear. Yeah. we'll definitely keep that in prayer. Um, I saw my regular doctor today and just some other things, and excuse me, we were talking about the current state of affairs medically, and oh my gosh, he's just like, it's nothing more than a bad cold. It's like, that's right. So it's like, yay, doc, you go for it. Near 40 this week and dry. Oh, that's so great. Patty, I hope it stays dry for your move. So you have a nice day for that. I really hope it does. Okay, Bonnie, we'll go. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for showing up, though. Appreciate it. View of a creek, trees, southern. Oh, nice. Oh, Patty, that's going to be so wonderful. And your own little place, too. Not having to have worry about all this stuff that's around there. Thank you, Karen. Matt and Sarah, hello. That must be Matt, because you do that kind of thing. Good evening. Oh, Kiri, I hear you. It's hard to type all that out. I hear you. So, yes, we have a bitter cold, warming up, snow, all that kind of stuff. What are we doing here? Okay, I am actually going to start with, says Matt died. Unless I should wait for a few other people to come in, but oh, that's so great. Thanks, Bonnie. Garden tip, as usual, is order your seeds, but make a garden plan too. And that's actually my prep tip for getting ready, because prep tip is not just about storing away and doing all this kind of stuff and and looking. It's for preparing for something ahead of what's today. Okay, and so even though it's January, seed catalogs are out. We need to order, but you need to know what you want to order. So a lot of people, especially just getting into gardening, but I've come across those who've been doing it for a long time and haven't really connected the tasks that need to happen in order to plant a successful garden. So, okay, Patty. Well, thanks so much. Southern Blessed Homestead. Appreciate that. Well, California's 2 hours behind, Julie, so it figures that you would be late, right? Your seeds just arrived. You're midway sorting them. Oh, Dave, that's so sweet. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so great. So, the one thing that to prepare for this spring is to start thinking about it now. We've had a couple months of rest for most of us from, closing up our garden and preserving and different things like that. Most everybody, I think, was done canning around October to November, something like that. So, like I said, we've had a couple months. But, goodbye, Tinker's Paradise video. Oh, that would be so nice. Julie, yes, restrained, right? Okay, so the best way to do your garden and to plan for it and to figure out what to buy so you're not overwhelmed and you're looking at, this huge catalog and going, oh my gosh, I want 250 of these seeds, and it's like, I want to grow this, I want to grow that. The very first thing I do is make 4 lists. Okay. Now, to plan it, you can, in putting it all together, you can do all kinds of things. You can make a journal, just have it as a binder, and then each year just keep going through that. Um, you can use grid paper, graph paper. I don't have my thing right in front of me. It's in the other room. But it can be like graph paper and stuff that you can use, which really, really helps in plotting out your garden. Um, you can put everything in a folder. Like I said, you can put it all in a 3-ring binder if you wanted to, or whatever. You can use lined paper, unlined paper, whatever works well for you. Um, hey, Wanda T. Hi, Simply Southern Roots. Hello. Um, Q Kitchen and Beyond. Hello. Thank you. You look at your garden and say, what kind of food are you going with first? Oh, yes. So, what the very first thing, so I make 4 lists. But before starting that list, what you need to do is inventory what you have. Go through your shelves of things that you have preserved, whether it's canning, dehydrating, freezing, anything like that. Go through what you have, figure out what you have left and how long that's going to hold you. If you have 75 quarts of tomato sauce at this point in time and you only use 2 or 3 quarts a month or a couple of quarts a month, and it's like, okay, that's going to last you quite a while. um, it might last you a couple more years. So do you really need to make any tomato sauce? You might want to make something else. You might be really low on salsa. You might be really low on tomato juice. You might be low on, other things that you'd want to make with that. So anyway, inventory your food supplies. Very first thing. Okay, then your list. The first one is make a list of the food you want to preserve this summer. So again, after your inventory, if you're short on something, write down, I want, salsa, maybe 3 different kinds of salsa that you want to make. So you want to have that. And kind of put it like, how many jars? So you want 20 jars of salsa. Okay. And then I want to put up pineapple. Okay. Well, here we don't grow pineapple. So there are very few of you that would be able to grow pineapple, but that might be something to put on your list. It's like, okay, at some point in the summer, I want to buy a bunch of pineapple and can it. You want to put meat up. You want to, but at this point, we're focusing on what you would grow in the garden. So you want to freeze a bunch of zucchini slices or something like that. Okay, you want yellow zucchini, green zucchini, you want these different things. You want to can a bunch of squash. You want to, all of these different things. Say I want to make pickles. We're out of pickles this year, so we want to make a whole bunch of pickles. Okay, so that means you're going to grow a lot of cucumbers, whether it's one variety or a whole bunch, So, all right, I gotta stop and say hi. Hey, Drops. Hello. How are you? One thing people overlook when buying flour is yeast. That's very true. Good for you. Making bread, a man in the kitchen. That's awesome. 2 pounds for $12. That's pretty good. You buy canned pineapple. So, yep. On sauce tomatoes this year instead of planting one of every kind. And you know what, Julie, because you're a fairly new gardener, 3 years or something, that you've been able to play around with all different varieties. And that's great. I mean, that's kind of what you do when you first start. It's just like, I want to plant this and plant that and see what I like. So after a while, you get to figure out what types of tomatoes that you like, what works best for you in your processing. Some people will only grow like paste tomatoes or Roma tomatoes because it's like that works best for me in the way I process them. I like to grow beefsteaks because I don't like messing with a bunch of little tomatoes. It's like, just give me, 3 large tomatoes and I can, fill a pot. or something like that. Um, um, oh, thank you, Terry, for coming. I really appreciate it. So, okay. So anyway, make a list of what you want to preserve this summer and the things that you want to eat fresh. So that is going to determine your garden. Okay. What you want to preserve, what you want to eat fresh out of the garden. And then you can, if you have room in your garden, throw in a few extra things that just fun things that you would want to try out, And so you go, oh, I've never tried that. So maybe you want to throw in something, but make sure that you're growing the things that you need and grow more than you think that you will need because of pests, weather, all that kind of stuff. I think they say typically grow about 60% more than what you think you're going to need just because of that. And if you have an abundance more than what you need, you can give it away. So you got your spoon tomato seeds. Ooh. Good point, Drops. Roma tomatoes are determinate. So there you go. So one, make a list of what you want to preserve, what you want to eat fresh. Number two, the second list, make a list of the seeds that you will need to accomplish your wish list, and then figure out what you need to order from that list. Okay, so you can go through all your seeds, say, okay, I have those, I have those, I have those. I still need to order this squash. I need to order this cucumber. I need to order these beans or whatever. So make these lists, and it can be, again, right in your journal or something, but this helps you to see it so clearly for what you're planning. Okay, the third list is to draw out your garden plot. Okay, so, and that's something that you don't have to do right away, but definitely before you're going to go and plant. So make out your garden plot and then figure out, okay, in this bed or this area, I want to have this and this and this and this. So let's say you've never grown peas before, and peas kind of like a little fencing and everything. So you're going, I don't have any fencing out there. So you need to know, you might need to get some fencing. You might need to put them somewhere else, have them grow up. Corn stalks wouldn't be high enough before they would grow. But anyway, so that's your fourth list, is to make a list of the items that you would need for your garden that you don't have, whether you need fertilizer or compost, mulch, if you need stakes, any fencing, things like that. So make a list of things that you're going to have, of the equipment that you need for the things that you want to grow. And even if you need to rebuild a bed or something, make a list of all these things and then start picking up these things a little bit at a time so it's not overwhelming financially. So anyway, those are the 4 lists that I always make, and it makes the stress of gardening and going into the spring so much easier. It's like, okay, I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. But when people say, grow what you eat, a lot of gardeners like, what do you mean grow what I eat? Of course, I'm going to eat what's out there. But it's like, no, plan your garden out of the things that you eat and that you need for your family and that will grow in your area. So anyway, that is my prep tip that goes along with the gardening. All right, catching up on the chat here. You have to have at least 1 plant of cherry and 1 slice. There you go. Oh, you guys are just talking about. Oh, hi, Donna. How are you? And Mark, hello. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Did somebody answer Donna's question about determinants? Oh, thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. Good. Mulch and compost. You garden in containers only as you grow in a third-story apartment, but you try this. Okay, absolutely. And then even in container gardening too, it's like, figure out what's going to work for you. Um, if you want to turn things into sauce and you are limited in space that way, make sure it's going to be a plant that is going to produce a great quantity for you in the way of when you're putting those tomatoes into the pot to make sauce, that you've got what you need there too. Um, exactly, drops. So that's why I'm saying plan these now so that you've got your plan, you know what seeds you need to get, and you're going to do that. So um, I really am pretty well set with seeds, but I do need to go through mine a little bit more. Oh yeah, and I've got my giant crimson, my heirloom giant crimson from Emma Gardner. Those are definitely going in this year. Definitely going in. What about planting seeds from fruit that you buy? I think it's a great idea. You have to make sure that you know how to save the seeds. It's a different process for different fruits and vegetables. And I didn't pull that book, but I do have a book on saving seeds. And you could just probably Google it too. Like, how do you save tomato seeds? How do you save cucumber seeds? And some of them have to be like tomato seeds have like a little gel. They're in a gel mixture and everything. And so you have to kind of wash them out with some apple cider vinegar, let them dry, different things. So, and like beans, you have to let them dry on the plant so that they can get all dried and hard and crispy. Harvested a bunch of calendula. Awesome. Very, very good. You just cooked up a variety of tomatoes in the same pot and made it. Oh, Donna, that would be so good. Yes, doing a variety of tomatoes in one is like you get such a mixture of flavors that enrich it so much instead of just one particular tomato. So I think that would be good. Hey, Connie, hello. I saw your husband got another bike to fix up. You need an intervention. Oh, that's funny. I have an empty box here that I'm sitting on right now. They say plant what you eat, but what about what you drink? Oh, Matt, she grows grapes too, so they do have that. Yeah, and if there are trees that you want to start planting, maybe I'm not. It's been a long time since I bought any trees, but those go very quickly in the spring too. So I don't know if you're able to order them now and pay for them and then have them delivered when the time is right, or if that's something that you go and I'm just thinking, like, if you order from Stark Brothers now, will they put you on the list to have them ordered? That I'm not sure. But like fruit trees and nut trees and things like that, will definitely put that in your plan. So that can be part of your budget too, in having all that. So the end of your harvest, the tomatoes are sweet and ripe, beautiful canned sauce. Yes, absolutely. Um, they deliver when your season's right. Okay, good, wonderful. So those are things you could start ordering too, a little bit at a time. So, high society. There you go. Hey, Christy. Hello. Um, if no seeds are available, you can give to the neighbors. Yep, absolutely. Um, so, okay. We are, I think, in the show notes below. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did put a link down there of the different types of flours that we're going to talk about today. So we have actually talked about how to preserved flour and grains and different things like that, make sure that you freeze them first, and then um, seal them up with oxygen absorbers in Mylar bags, different things like that. So we've talked about all of the storage things and keeping them long term. So those are things you want to make sure that you follow through on. Don't just take a bag of flour and stick it in your basement on the shelf, because you will end up with bugs in there and you will have to throw it away, and it could end up getting into other things. So you do want to make sure that you are very, very careful with all that. Um, exactly, drops. Oh, Simply Southern Roots, I'm sorry about your mom, but you've got a whole bunch of seeds there, don't you? What do you want, extra protein? Well, then drops, go for it. I mean, hey, you're certainly welcome to them. Um, you put mine in your freezer, good. um, okay, so we know that there's, flour is just finely grounded, sifted meal of grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, or certain vegetables, even. And each kind of flour has a different nutrition profile and cooking or baking qualities. So, as I go through all of these, think about your needs, your flavors. If you're a high bread baking family or person, then you certainly want to make sure that you've got the flours that you would need for that. If you're gluten free, I'm going to be covering things that are just wheat and then whole grain, as well as gluten free flours too. So, and some what are the other ones called? Ethnic flours. So 100% of the country has base. Oh. That is very good tip there, drops, is to get a hand grinder. Absolutely. Hey, Gil. Plowing snow. You guys have been getting hit with snow this year. Oh my goodness. You, and then watching uh, the other couple up in Idaho, um, simple life homestead, simple life. I can't remember something. Yeah, I just brain fart going here. Um, that's true. That's true. So simple living. There you go. Simple living homestead. I was close. Thank you, Donna. But yeah, they were. I mean, just like boom, 18 inches, and then another couple days, boom, 12 inches, and then boom. So they're getting hit. And they're up in the mountains, but apparently they didn't expect that much. I'm just glad we haven't gotten that much. We have quite a bit for this time of the year already, but because our heavy months of snow are definitely February and March. So don't know what we're going to get for that. Okay. So traditionally, the most prevalent flours are milled from wheat. Refined wheat flours are, by law, enriched. They enrich them, which means they're adding all this stuff when you buy the flour at the store. They add thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and iron, and they're fortified with folic acid. Whole wheat flours, but whole wheat flours naturally contain B vitamins and iron. And you guys, B vitamins are just like so essentially important, as much as vitamin D is. So, and they also have selenium, potassium, and magnesium. So they're, whole wheat is really filled with a lot of stuff. They're also good sources of fiber, um, but they probably don't have the other folic acid in there. So, um, Connie, I hear you. Alicia had a blizzard last Friday, expecting worse. Ooh, yeah. Um, Anyone need any eggs? You have about 15. Sure, I do drops. I'm down to I think 1 dozen right now, so I'd love a couple. Um, your chickens are doing well then for the middle of winter. Anna, hello. Thank you for coming in. So the wheat flour category alone is extensive. And now wheat is ideal for bread making. Flour from hard wheat is higher in protein, including gluten, which makes the dough sticky, elastic, and able to hold air bubbles. So that's what the gluten does in there. And it's got a leavening agent as the dough rises, which is your yeast and everything. Flours from soft wheat have less protein and less elastic quality, so they are better for delicate pastries and cakes. So you say cake flour that comes from a soft wheat as opposed to a hard wheat. So don't ask me which one is which in the brands. I don't know. But try to get unbromated flour. No potassium bromate in the flour. Better for sourdough. Nice. Okay. Oh, Simply Southern Roots, thanks so much for coming in. Your state's the national championship. Nice. Your mom told me to B12 helps with autism. Oh, it very well could. I don't know about all that, Alicia. So when I was talking about vitamins, you're going to see if you can plant every vitamin that you need in your body in your garden. Oh, Julie, that would be amazing. Are you talking about minerals too, or just the vitamins? That would be awesome. If a good mill producing the flour, say what it is. Yeah, Bob's Red Mill is a good one too. Yes, absolutely. So, okay. So you got an all-purpose flour. It's used for baking, thickening, breading, all that kind of stuff. Then you have 100% whole wheat flour, which is from a whole grain. It's made from hulled red wheat. You still got your little wheat berries. So that's the best way to buy it is in the wheat berries, and then have your own grinder, whether it's a hand grinder, electric grinder, whatever you want, and then to grind your own flour. So because the wheat berries, you can store them much longer than you can actual milled flour. So that's the way you really want to buy them. And again, still try to freeze them, put them in Mylar bags, seal them up, all that kind of stuff. They provide, again, more nutrients and fiber and all that kind of stuff. So then you've got white whole wheat flour, self-rising flour, cake or pastry flour, bread flour, and all these, again, have gluten in it. An option for a whole grain flour is semolina. It's a hard durum wheat, semolina, and it's used for pasta. So you see on your boxes a lot when you're buying pasta, stuff is semolina flour, different things like that. So it's used for pasta, couscous, gnocchi, and puddings. It's very high in gluten, all that kind of stuff. So there's flour semolina or wheat semolina. There's corn semolina, which is grits, and rice semolina. So there's some options there. So, all right. So that's all of your wheat flours. Now some non-wheat flours. Your grandpa used a blender to grind flour. Yeah, just in case. Yeah, that's really, really the best thing to do is to get the berries and the whole grain that you can. Because first of all, it's when you grind it, it's like even when you're grinding up spices, like, I grind my own cinnamon and stuff. And it's like once you take like that piece of bark and you put it into the grinder and you powder it up, it's like, the fragrance is just incredible and the flavor is just like, so your wheat berries or any of your grain berries, it's going to, your whole grains, once you grind it, it's like it just releases all the good stuff in it. And to use it fresh like that, you'll notice such a difference in there. So I'm going to be going through these kind of alphabetically, and I'll tell you which ones are gluten-free flours and which ones are whole grain options that you can use. So you buy grits, but your kid won't eat it. Oh, oh my goodness, that's so great. Okay, so we have, the first one is almond meal or almond flour, and that's gluten-free. It's made from blanched almonds. And again, I've made my own almond milk, and from the pulp that's left over, I've saved that and actually dried that and ground that up and had my own almond flour. So if you buy almonds, there's multiple uses there. So it's low in carbs, but high in protein. And it's high in calcium, fiber, vitamin E, and it's nearly all unsaturated fat. So it adds moisture and a nutty taste to pastries, baked goods, and dessert filling. It's not meant to replace flour in yeast or quick breads. So it makes a great cornbread. It's, again, coarser and heavier in weight. So kind of think of that when you're making stuff that you have. Amaranth seeds can be ground to flour. Okay, very cool. Yeah, Alicia, some people can do cinnamon, some can't. So, yep, almonds are very, very healthy. Donna, I find that overall, so if I buy like a 1 pound bag of almonds, it'll actually last me quite a while. But if I get the raw almonds, they're like $10 or something for a 1 pound bag. But when I need almond milk, I only use like a half a cup of almonds or something, because I don't really use it for drinking. I use it for baking. And so as opposed to buying a quart of almond milk and then I only need 1 cup out of that, the rest of it goes bad. So, I spend $3 on a quart as opposed to, a half a cup out of a pound or something. This overall, it lasts for me. And I keep all my nuts in the freezer too. So they last so much longer that way. They stay really fresh. And so, yeah, so when you're dealing with raw nuts, you want to make sure you soak them for whatever length of time they recommend. Cashews, you can soak them for like 2 or 3 hours or something. Almonds, you want to soak 8 to 10 hours. And once you soak them in water, you will see the cloud of stuff that comes out of them. So, soak them and then rinse them, and then you can use them for like juicing them to extract the milk or whatever out of them. Not that they have milk, but you combine it with water and you put them in a juicer, and it is very, very good. If you want to, you could always roast them afterwards too, if you want to dry them again and have that in there. But I take out what I need, and that's it. So for me to have the raw almonds, the bags of them, and I get cashews in like a 5 pound bag because I use those a little bit more, and they just last for a long time for me. Okay, Amaranth flour is gluten-free. It comes from an ancient seed, and I know some of you even grow amaranth. Ken Connie, yes, you're just saying that. Amaranth microgreens are really popular. Okay. So amaranth, from an ancient seed, it has a high level of complete protein, including lysine, used in baked goods for up to a 25% flour content. It's an excellent thickener for sauces, gravies, and soups. It has a slightly sweet, nutty flavor. and again, gluten-free. Barley flour is a whole grain option. It is also wheat, um, in the wheat category. So if you're gluten-free, or gluten sensitive or something, you wouldn't want to do barley. But barley is made from pearl or whole grain barley. It adds fiber to baked goods. It contains gluten, but not enough for adequate rising. So it's good as a thickener in soups, stews, sauces, and gravies. Um, Buckwheat is, even though it's got wheat in the word, thank you, Matt. Um, Even if it has wheat in the word, it is gluten-free. So the first time I ever came across that was when I was reading Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I think it was in the long winter, and they talked about making the buckwheat pancakes and trying to find the seed, that they could get to grind into their buckwheat. And so it was, anyway, it was just, that was kind of like, it's like, wait. And then I found out that it was actually not really wheat, it was something else. So, but buckwheat flour is made from buckwheat, which is a cousin of rhubarb. Get that. It's not wheat varietal, nor technically even a grain, but you combine that with other flours to add a hearty, grassy flavor and color to bread. It's good for pasta and pancakes. Whole wheat or whole buckwheat flour has a stronger flavor and more nutrients. White buckwheat is milder and has fewer nutrients, so it is gluten-free as well as a whole grain option. Thank you, Tinkers. Well, I appreciate that. You guys, you all have my back. I want to thank you all. You guys are awesome. Getting talk here tonight. Okay, so we have corn flour, which is milled from the whole corn kernel. Corn starch is made from the endosperm, which I'm not sure exactly what part of the corn that is, but anyway, use it in breading or blending with other flour for batters or dough. Cornmeal can be ground into corn flour in a food processor. So if you just get cornmeal, you can make your own flour from that too. It is gluten-free as well as a whole grain option. There are a lot of people with corn sensitivities though too, so keep that in mind if you wanted to store that. Hey, Michigan Daffodil, hello. Oh, I always catch you doing the dishes, don't I? Gives up 1 pump egg of buckwheat seeds. You are so ready, Drops. You are so ready. You're so good. Okay, flaxseed flour or meal. Made by milling whole flax seeds. Makes omega-3s available to you. So it has a lot of fiber too. Flaxseed in baked goods is a good substitute for fat or eggs. So because it gets kind of gelatinous, so the eggs can do that. Flaxseed has a very strong flavor to it, and some people like it, some don't. So make sure that before you go and buy a bunch of this stuff, that you know that you're going to like it before you store it. Don't go, oh, I'm going to get 2 pounds of flaxseed, and then you take your first dose of that and you go, this is horrible, or you just don't know how to use it. So make sure that these are things that you know you like before you go to use it. Oh, Connie, that's awesome. That is so great. Okay, oat flour. Oat naboosh is oat flour is ground from oat groats. Oat groats, there you go. Used to replace some flour in a variety of recipes. It adds a rich, nutty flavor and denser texture. In baked goods that need to rise, it must be combined with other flours. So oat flour is generally gluten-free, is also a whole grain option. So sometimes people are sensitive to it if it is not organic. So if it's oats that have been sprayed and everything like that, they might have trouble with it. So check your sources on that too. If you have somebody, I know oat grits. Um, Good point, Christy. Yeah, flax does go rancid pretty fast. Um, that's a great idea. Yeah, to sprinkle it in the middle of within some other things too. Then peanut flour. If you're not allergic to peanuts, you can do that. So made from crushed, fully or partly defatted peanuts. How they defat it, I'm not sure, other than maybe grinding it up and dehydrating it or something. I don't know how they do that. Um, but again, it's just protein in it. It's used to thicken or add flavor to soups or sauces. Adds nutty flavor to baked goods or main dishes, and it's gluten free. Flaxseed muffins. Yep. Potato flour. There you go. And you could make your own potato flour. If you have lots and lots of potatoes, you don't know what to do with them, and they might be starting to get a little soft or go bad or anything. Take them, I would again, dehydrate them and make sure that you prep them in the way that they're needed to do. But whether you're going to thinly slice them or you can make them into mashed potatoes first, lay them out and grind them up, whatever you're going to do. Make sure that you're able to grind them because potatoes get extremely hard when they're dehydrated. So, you know, you just have to have a super grinder for it. Probably like a wheat mill, a grain mill would be the best thing to be able to grind it up. But anyway, you can grind your own. They have fiber and potassium. You can use them as a thickener. Hey, Sean, how are you? Dehydrate and powder the potatoes you use when you make a quiche. Awesome. You can use it as a thickener for smooth, creamy sauces and soups, gravies, and frozen desserts. For baking, it adds starch to the dough, which attracts and holds water, and it makes bread more moist and extends the freshness. That I didn't know. So if you're making regular wheat bread, if you put a little potato flour in there, that'll make your loaf stay fresher longer. So that's awesome, especially if you're not going through it fast enough. Um, so if you use it in meat, chicken, fish, and vegetable patties, it extends and binds and retains moisture. And yes, it's gluten free. Potato flour is. Okay, we have rice flour. So we have brown rice and white rice. So they're made from the brown rice or the white rice. The brown rice, you can compare it to 1 gram of flour and the white rice flour. Oh, that was a fourth a cup. Okay. Anyway, it has a nutty flavor used like white flour, but gives a grittier texture in baked goods such as cornbread and pound cake. Again, gluten free. White rice flour you can use in baked goods such as pie crust, cookies, and shortbread. It gives a tender mouth feel, whatever that is. Sweet or glutinous sticky rice flour is made from high starch short grain rice, which is used to thicken sauces in Asian dishes. It does not contain gluten despite its name. So the kind of rice you get will depend on how you want to use rice flour for your cooking. I know, right, Patty? Oh, potato bread. Yep. Um, Dutch crunch topping on bread. Ooh, Sean, I have never heard of that. That sounds so good. Oh, Alicia, that's true. It's later there. Okay, so we have rye flour, and rye is a heavy. Again, get just the berries, the rye berries, but it's a heavy, dark flour. If you've ever seen rye bread or have had it, it's a very dark bread. Um, it will have There's a lot of fiber in it. It contains less gluten than wheat flours, but it's not gluten free. So rye is something, if you're gluten free, you got to be careful of that. But it is a great whole grain option to wheat. It produces a heavy, dense bread. For better rising, blend it with a higher protein flour, mostly sold as a medium rye flour. Light and dark rye flours are available. Pumpernickel flour is dark rye made from whole grain and used in bread making. So if you've never had pumpernickel, what did we put on the pumpernickel? Corned beef on pumpernickel, corned beef and cheese, pumpernickel. Yeah, I think that's what we used to make. It's so good. Dutch Crunch, dark rye bread that has cocoa powder in it. Yes. No cocoa powder in it, Patty. I know pumpernickel. I have not had pumpernickel for ages. Since I was, long time ago. But anyway, it's very good. Soy flour. So it's made from milled soybeans. It's high in protein, lower in carbs. It is gluten free. It's a good source of calcium, an excellent source of iron and magnesium. I recommend that you try to find organic soy flour because of the extensive spraying on them. Use it to thicken sauces. As a wheat flour substitute in quick breads and cookies, use 1 part soy flour to 3 parts all-purpose flour, so 1 to 3. Reduces fat absorption in frying batter or dough. So if what you're using is like sucking up all of the oil whenever you're frying something, and you want it to keep it to lighter and crispier, add some soy flour to your thingies, whatever you're making. Lightly toast in a dry skillet over moderate heat for a nutty flavor. Then we have Spelt Flour. A spelt, again, is a whole grain, which is an option. It's not gluten-free, but some gluten-free people can do spelt, and they're okay with that. So it's an ancient grain, and it's a cousin to wheat. It's got higher in protein than wheat flour. Again, fiber, iron, and everything else. So the slightly higher protein forms more gluten than the wheat flour. So spelt, if you need to add a little bit to something. It has a mellow, nutty flavor. Can be substituted for wheat in baking. May cause reactions in wheat allergic people. And you can get refined and whole wheat. So, you kills. Oh, you guys are just good. I love this. Liver pate. Ooh. My dad loved Braunschweiger. And so he would always make sure we had it in the house and bought it. And it was like, so we grew to really like that. I mean, spread some Braunschweiger on toast, on a buttered toast, or on crackers or something. And it's like, so I can say that I get my liver, but doing it through hors d'oeuvres or, my pate on toast. Cocoa powder, you guys are funny. Hey, Katie's World. I just wanted coffee after hearing all this. Caitlin, hi. Chrissy, yeah. So I don't know that I've even seen it in the grocery store. I'll have to look for that. Liverwurst. That's very close to Braunschweiger, isn't it? You used to like it until you heard what it really was. I know. But when my mom cooked liver, I could never eat it. It was always liver and onions with bacon and stuff like that. But it was like shoe leather. And I was like, ooh. Okay, so quickly, I'm going to go through the flours that are ethnic. And again, kind of look at all these things and figure out what flours you want to store. Again, if you're going to store it in abundance, make sure that you know how to use them before you pour money into it and putting them stored away. So before meat started making. Oh yeah, but you know what? I figured I should get some because that would give me my liver. My liver needs, wouldn't it? Just ate some homemade chili. Oh, yes, that's on my list of things to make. Poultry liver. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, I think it's just cow's liver is in brown sugar, I think. But if you soak your liver in almond milk, you might like it. Oh, okay. Thank you, Drops. Okay, so there's some other flours from around the world of things that you can use to make your own flours with. Cassava um, is used as a thickener in stews and different things like that. So some people, like with Crohn's disease, still have reactions to it and everything, but it is gluten free. And then we have chickpea or garbanzo flour. So you can take your chickpeas, grind them up. Make sure that you buy the ones in the bag, not the ones in the can that are all in liquid. So you want them dry before you grind it up into flour. It's higher in protein and it's used in cooking from India. So soaking almond milk is chicken. Ooh, that sounds good too. Chapati flour. Chapati is made of wheat and malted barley flours. It's used to make Indian chapatis. So if you're into that. Dal flour, dal. It's a legume flour used in Indian cooking. It includes besan flour, urad dal flour, and mung dal flour. I am not familiar with any of those, but it's gluten-free. Then we have Fufu Flour. It's F-U-F-U, Fufu Flour, made from dried plantain and used in Nigerian recipes. So anybody here from Nigeria, we're talking about your flour here. So I don't know what Nigerian recipes are like, but it's something that you could experiment with, you know. And then kamut flour, made from the ancient Egyptian grain kamut. It can be substituted for wheat if combined with other flours in making bread and pasta. That one is not gluten-free. But then we have millet. Everybody has heard of millet. Used to make that in bread baking and pancakes. And that is gluten-free. And then we have teff flour, T-E-F-F, made from the teff grain, has twice the iron and 3 times the calcium of many other grains. It's used to make an Ethiopian flatbread and baked goods. It is gluten-free. Why have we not heard of this one here? I mean, that would be like excellent. Someone here has been to us. Drops. Oh, Morocco is on my bucket list. Definitely. Dave, you've used teff? Did you like it? Was it easy to use? You guys are so creative with all your cooking and everything that you do. So good. Okay. So the list of all of these things that I've been talking about is the link is in the show notes below. So anyway, I think that was all I had on there. But I want to thank all my moderators here too for all of your work and for having my back. Thank you, Patty, for putting up that link for Bob's Red Mill. That he has a variety of like you said, all kinds of flours. If you grind up anything, it is a flour. Basically, yes. Also, in the book, The Lost Ways, it talks about making flour from cattails. So getting the cattail meat or whatever you want out of there. And so the seeds and all that kind of stuff, getting those out and making a lot of flour. And so those are something you could do in emergency. So those are some of the other things. So anyway, you guys, I hope this gave you a little bit of a broader picture of things that you can do and other things you can make flour from. Like I said, potatoes and you know, chickpeas and all kinds of things that you can make flour from. So it doesn't rise the same. Okay. Um, oh, thanks, Gil. Appreciate that. Azure Stand is a good place to shop for grains and flours. Nice, very good to know. They're very different than white flour. White does most of the cooking. You see those? Okay. Oh, and if you need to bake a lot and you've got a big family or something, getting these other grains in the small amounts, it can be pretty expensive. So you need to do what you have to do for your situation, your family, everything like that. And I just hope things work out well for you. So, you guys, yes, good night to everybody. Y'all have a great week, and just thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So, God bless. Always have hope, and we will see you next week. All right. Good night, y'all.